Hi-Fi has always existed in the lower end of the market. They're always known for price to performance, trying to press down prices as much as possible. So when IO first debuted with their $600 Volare IEM, many people were skeptical. I think even till today, people are still skeptical. And while the Volare does command a high price, I still do think that it does embody some of the Hi-Fi philosophies. You do get a lot of value out of it, much more value than I would say its Western counterparts. So now let me just explain that while this may be an expensive IEM, it is quite honestly, compared to at least the kilobucks that we are seeing nowadays, actually decent value. So let's talk about it. First, let's talk about the reason why you might even be considering a Volare in the first place. The thing that all the reviewers have been gushing about, and that is the unboxing experience. The boys back at IO have clearly taken cues from one of my favorite IEMs, the Sony IER Z1R. The box itself is a nice, substantial cube. I wonder where they got that idea from. And of course comes with all these tiny little drawers that stores all of its accessories. I wonder where they got the idea from. This is a very, very memorable unboxing experience. And when it comes down to it, I think that this is a much better presentation than many other kilobuck IEMs. You get, of course, your hard case, which opens and closes. I don't know how to explain it. It's just good. And when it comes to the tips, you get, and I shit you not, 30. You get 12 pairs of silicone tips as well as 3 pairs of foam tips. And even when it comes to the cable, you get an interchangeable connection of 3.5 single-ended, 4.4 balance as well as 2.5 balance. The cable itself is also very high quality. It comes in an octa braid configuration, that is to say 8 wires braided into each other. And while I'm not the biggest fan of the outer sheathing material, I can still see that it's a very, very well built cable and feels very premium. The build of the IEM, while full resin, is also still very nice. It is 3D printed, which means that the internals are fully filled, but on top of that, the outside design is just mesmerizing. Here's where I have to compare with a lot of kilobuck resin shelled IEMs. A lot of times they just simply put in a transparent shell and call it a day, but compared to that, the Volare feels like actual effort has gone into it. The shell shape itself is also pseudo-custom, very well contoured, and fits very well inside my ears. But the usual caveats apply for pseudo-custom IEM. Sometimes the shell shape just doesn't vibe with your ears and just feels simply uncomfortable. Now let's talk a little bit about the sound. And while I myself am not a driver memer, purely in terms of cost, looking at the 1DD 4BA and 4EST tri-braid configuration, this is actually one of the cheapest IEMs I've seen with this configuration. Let me put it out there that EST drivers, Sony and EST drivers, are not cheap. Putting in just 2 ESTs into your IEM would mean retailing your IEM for at least $300 US just to cover costs. And you will see that many, if not most, of the 2 EST tri-braid IEMs tend to cost around $500 US, which is, I would say, still fairly reasonable for that kind of driver configuration. Now you have the Volare here coming in with 4 EST drivers, though some of you may be completely desensitized to driver counts at this point. But just to give a gentle reminder to all of you, these are the price points for many other IEMs with 4 EST drivers. I'm not providing any brands or models, just the price points, just to make my point. But this is just purely in terms of cost. Driver memeing. I am not a driver memer. I don't care as long as the Volare sounds good. And of course, you know, it's on Hangout.audio. Clearly we approve of it. So why exactly is it good? The Volare is unabashedly a Harman-tuned IEM. You're gonna get all the hallmarks, good and bad, with the Volare. The treble response is also slightly elevated, so the Volare you could consider a V-shaped set with enhanced bass as well as enhanced treble. Now the EST treble tends to sound a little bit more wispy and less incisive compared to, let's say, a planar or even BA drivers, so the Volare comes off as actually a little less fatiguing to me. Now owing to its tuning, you are going to get that punchy bass response that you tend to expect out of a Harman-tuned set, but at the same time also that thinner lower mids that's going to sound a little bit more unnatural relative to the new meta tuning. At this point, the apt comparison I would say is that this is kind of the supercharged version of the Truth Ear Nova, both of which would be Harman tuned, but the Volare just comes off as a little bit slightly more refined. Now let's talk about the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, why you should consider buying a Volare and why you shouldn't. You should if you're someone who puts a lot of stock into the unboxing experience. At $600 it is a lot of money, but when it comes down to it, it is one of the best unboxing experience that I've ever experienced to date. This is regardless of price. So I have seen $5,000 IEMs that doesn't come close to the quality of an unboxing like the Volare. Also consider the Volare if you're someone who is, again, a driver memer, if you're looking for that tribrid EST configuration and not just simply a 2+2+1. No, if you want that 4+4+1. And of course, if you're looking for that Harman style tuning, the Volare is unabashedly a V-shaped sound signature, enhanced bass as well as enhanced treble. And why you shouldn't consider buying a Volare? Well, it is $600, which is on the higher end of the Chi-Fi scale. So I wouldn't blame you for balking at such a price tag. And just like how you should consider buying a Volare if you're looking for that V-shaped sound, you also shouldn't consider buying one if you're looking for a more balanced kind of tuning. The Volare is going to have punchy bass and forward treble, so stay away if you're someone who is more sensitive to both ends of the spectrum. And lastly, do not consider buying a Volare if you're someone who wants a metal build at a more premium price point. At the end of the day, while the Volare does look good and feel good, it is still a resin shell. And that's it. That is my evaluation on one of the more premium pieces of Chi-Fi, the I/O Volare. But you don't have to take my word for it. You can always try it out for yourself at the Hangout. We're located at 200 South Bridge Road in Chinatown. Come on down, grab a cup of coffee or even an ice cream and then ask for the Volare. Try it out for yourself and then form your own opinions. And for those of you who are not privileged enough to be in Singapore, you can always come on down to hangout.audio, our online retail store. We ship globally and for free for orders over $30. This has been Chronicle for Hangout.audio, and remember kids, if it's not on the list, it doesn't exist. See you next week.